Hi, and a really warm welcome to this second lesson with me, David Marshall, of the Nature of Reality course. So in the first lesson, called The Limitation of the Five Senses, we looked at how reality is much more than the physical environment that we experience. It's actually a state of consciousness created through thought. And this is why the law of attraction works, of course, because we're using thought within a thought environment. And thought, you can use another term called energy, but fundamentally that's the easiest way to think about it. The medium in which we exist is a self-created thought construction. So in this lesson, the second lesson, we're going to have a look at the nature of beliefs and how to use them, because the actual if we're an artist using paint and palette and that type of thing, our creative process isn't the paints, it's actually our beliefs, our emotions, our desires and expectations. And that's why essentially the law of attraction works. So in this lesson, we're going to have a look at the nature of beliefs, core beliefs, satellite beliefs, look at how they in fact create the reality that you experience. They do not create the environment in total. They only give you one slice, if you like, of a much broader, much more complex environment. But it's your reality, your own personal realities created by you and your beliefs. So I hope you enjoy the lesson. So this is the second lesson called The Power of Beliefs and How to Use Them. And it's going to really help you understand more about what you might want to call the law of attraction, but it's going to take you much deeper into how reality is formed, mass reality, personal reality, and how you can begin to change reality to create and reflect back to you the lessons and the experiences that you want. So I hope you enjoy it. Look out for the next lesson. So lesson number 3, which is called The Power of the Present Moment. And you're going to thoroughly enjoy that as well. So that's it. See you in the next lesson. But here is lesson number 2, The Power of Belief and How to Use Them. Hi, and a really warm welcome to this second lesson with me, David Marshall, of the Nature of Reality course. So in the first lesson, called The Limitation of the Five Senses, we looked at how reality is much more than the physical environment that we experience. It's actually a state of consciousness created through thought. And this is why the law of attraction works, of course, because we're using thought within a thought environment. And thought, you can use another term called energy, but fundamentally that's the easiest way to think about it. The medium in which we exist is a self-created thought construction. So in this lesson, the second lesson, we're going to have a look at the nature of beliefs and how to use them, because the actual if we're an artist using paint and palette and that type of thing, our creative process isn't the paints, it's actually our beliefs, our emotions, our desires and expectations. And that's why essentially the law of attraction works. So in this lesson, we're going to have a look at the nature of beliefs, core beliefs, satellite beliefs, look at how they in fact create the reality that you experience. They do not create the environment in total. They only give you one slice, if you like, of a much broader, much more complex environment. But it's your reality, your own personal realities created by you and your beliefs. So I hope you enjoy the lesson. So this is the second lesson called The Power of Beliefs and How to Use Them. And it's going to really help you understand more about what you might want to call the law of attraction, but it's going to take you much deeper into how reality is formed, mass reality, personal reality, and how you can begin to change reality to create and reflect back to you the lessons and the experiences that you want. So I hope you enjoy it. Look out for the next lesson. So lesson number 3, which is called The Power of the Present Moment. And you're going to thoroughly enjoy that as well. So that's it. See you in the next lesson. But here is lesson number 2, The Power of Belief and How to Use Them. Hey, welcome to this podcast. Myself, David Marshall, and my guide, Aaron, who you will hear on this podcast, welcome you to this brand new experience to help you understand the nature of who you are. We're going to be exploring the nature of your immortality, help you gain an actual experience of your true, deeper, broader nature, your soul consciousness. We're going to help you explore into past and future lives. We're going to take the lid off the latest spiritual understandings, and if you really want to gain an understanding that will transform your life, you're in exactly the right place. If you would like to download a free book, please go to thedreamwecallaearth.com and you can download my book there. It's a beautiful spiritual story and there's some audio training as well, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's get on with the podcast and I hope you enjoy it. Take care. Hello again and welcome back to the second lesson. I hope you enjoyed the first one. It's a bit mind-blowing. I know you might, hopefully you've gone over it a couple of times and had a look at the workbook, at the quotes that will, help you as well. So the second lesson here is called Understanding Belief and the Power of Thought. And this is really where the rubber hits the road, really. It's where you begin to understand the nature and the power of thought. Concepts like the law of attraction, all that kind of stuff, coincidences. But it's also much more than that. It really is much more than that. It allows you to understand how you form your own reality. As a template, there's this template that we call a state of consciousness and, created by your five senses. But how do you actually get what you want into the template, if you like? That's important. So that's why understanding belief and the power of thought is lesson number 2. So here's a question for you. Are you ready? In a self-created state of consciousness, created through thought, which is what this is, what do you think the most powerful thing that you can do is? What do you think the most powerful thing that you can do is? Well, it's to think, isn't it? The most powerful act you have is the act of thinking, because it's what everything else is made from. So your beliefs, your ideas, your thoughts, they're the creative material, if you like, that you use to bring about the experience that makes up your daily life that you experience. In the template of physical reality, your ideas, beliefs, and thoughts are the material, if you like. They're the brick and mortar. They're the architecture of what you use. So your beliefs about yourself, your beliefs about this reality, they are all building blocks. Your beliefs about your worth or your body or your health or other people or whether you're safe or not, all these kinds of things, they are the building blocks for creating the life that you want. They're the basis for every single experience. Remember, it's not separate from you. Every single experience, the basis of that is what you think. And so it means, obviously, that we must understand the processes and the creative nature of thought. Okay? Kind of makes sense. So let's get into that. So another great question is, what is thought made of? What is it made of? Well, we know that it's made of energy. Okay? And remember, let's hark back to the lesson 1 when we understand and we saw that actually energy, the same energy that creates everything, is actually the same energy of thought. It's the same thing. Okay, thought energy is the same as computer energy and cup energy and book energy and, body energy, finger energy. It's exactly the same thing. So accepting that state of consciousness, how do you think that a thought is transmitted then between people during telepathy? Why does distance have no effect on it? Okay, how do you think a thought is transmitted? Okay, because we've all had examples, haven't we? We think of another person and they pick up the phone. We think of a person, they walk around the corner. How does this work in a self-created state of consciousness? Well, in a state of consciousness where space and time are created by the senses, camouflage, remember, distance has no effect on the transmission of information from one person to another. Okay, it's got no effect whatsoever. And so what we need to understand is that we've explored that actually we're all made of the same stuff. Okay, so what I propose is that actually we're all connected to each other. Okay, in some fashion, outside of physical reality, state of consciousness here, actually that we're all connected. And that would answer the questions of how come you can think of Bob and Bob walks around the corner, or how come you're thinking of doing something or you don't like it and somebody else says no. How does that work? Well, because we're all connected and we're all sending out psychic transmission all the time, 24 hours a day. So if we recall the proposal that your reality is created by you, you're creating every single aspect of that reality, and therefore you're in contact with every person, every environment. Could anyone see how telepathy works in communicating thoughts and desires and expectations to other people in the same reality? Okay, could that go to answer that? Everything's made from thought. Yeah, you're actually in contact with everyone because you're actually connected to everybody. And therefore, whatever you think, actually your thoughts, desires, wishes, expectations are transmitted. Because if we create our own reality through then telepathy, then that is the communication that we use. It's beyond the five senses, beyond the ego five senses. It's the first language. And this is how we sense information from others that we don't get through the five senses. Okay, so I'm going to propose that we all have inner senses. So we have inner senses that we use to communicate on many levels other than ego level. We've got the five senses, we could call them the outer senses, couldn't we? The outer senses with physical reality that create the illusion of a physical reality, the camouflage of a physical reality. But actually we've got inner senses, inward senses that we actually use to communicate on many other levels to everybody else. Okay, pretty cool. Now, given our understanding and now your understanding that thoughts and reality are made of the same thing, of energy, that we communicate our thoughts to others through natural telepathy, what do you think about the creative nature of thought then? What part do you think that thought plays in actually creating your reality, across the board? What part do you think that thought has in creating, that thought's a creative process? Well, it's not too much of a leap, is it, again, to recognize that your thoughts attract events and people to you. They repel and they attract. That's where the law of attraction comes from, although that's a pretty limited way of thinking about it. But, thoughts actually are created by you and repelled from you because your thoughts are electromagnetic. Okay, they can be thought of as beacons of light, if you like, beacons of energy, attracting aspects of life towards you. And so what I'm stating is that physical objects, including people, are also made of thought. Okay, they're also made of thought. And your thoughts, your strongest thoughts, act as beacons of energy, attracting things into your life. So that's really important to know again. So what we have to do now is understand, let's bring it back in terms of beliefs and that type of thing. So what do you understand by the term belief? Because I think it's important that we get on the same page. So what you understand by the term belief, I'm going to propose that it means something you accept to be true. Okay, a belief is something that you accept to be true. So if that's the case, and we're going to take this a bit deeper, so bear with me, what is a belief made of then? Okay, and is it made of the same thing as a thought? So if you ever think, if you had to think, what's it made of? It's made of thought, but is a belief the same thing as a thought? Okay, because what I want to do is really get you to recognize that a belief is made of energy, a thought, energy like everything else, but it's actually got a stronger focus of attention because you believe it to be true. It's kind of multi-layered, isn't it, a belief? You believe things because A, B, C lead up to a particular fact. So given that, why do you think it's important then to understand what a belief is and to understand our belief system and its purpose? Because if thoughts are electromagnetic, they literally attract events to you through your belief system, then your belief system is the creator of your experience. And that means, fundamentally and magically, you recognize who's in charge of what you believe. Who is in charge of what you believe? You are. You are in total charge of what you believe. And therefore, you are in control of your reality. Completely and totally in charge of what happens with you. Okay. Now that can scare you. You can go, oh my God, you're kidding. I created all that crap in my life. Or you can flip it over and go, wow, that's amazing. I'm going to learn how to do that. I'm going to learn how to work with my belief system and actually get it to work in my favor. And that's what we want to do. So if we review very slightly here, within this reality, the energy that we use to create not only the environment, but also every event is the energy that we call thought. Okay, that's what it is. So our thoughts and beliefs are literally the driving force of your experience, attracting events to us that are in line with our beliefs, repelling events that are not in line with our beliefs. Okay? And so you need to start to think of your belief system as a marvelous creator, an incredible creator of your experience. And remember, there's no aspect of your belief system that's inaccessible. There's no part of you that's inaccessible. Some people talk about conscious and unconscious and all that kind of stuff, but really it's all conscious. If you believe that you can get to those beliefs and change them, then you can. If you don't believe you can, then you can't. That's it. It's all conscious and it's all available. All right. So this is exciting. Very, very exciting. So the beauty of this is when you realize this and understand it a little bit more, is you recognize that you've only got to look after one belief, don't you? one mind, your mind, nobody else's, because it's created by you. If you accept that and then begin to change your beliefs, to understand that how you think is really, really important, and that you have the ability to change those beliefs, then there's absolutely, nothing that you can't do. You are quite literally free to create the life that you want within the confines of physical reality, what we call physical reality. So let's move on. So as we begin to work with our belief system, okay, what I want to do is identify two separate types of beliefs. Very, very important. There's core beliefs and satellite beliefs. Now, core beliefs are those that we as a culture accept simply to be true without question. Okay, they're almost invisible because we simply accept them so easily. So what do you think a core belief is? I'll give you some examples in a second, but just think of them. Something that we all accept is completely and totally true. And I will throw some in. It is time is a core belief. Time does not exist. It is a belief. It's a core belief. Age, that things can be sinful, that there's up and down, heaven up and hell down, that people have to be ill, that illness has to exist, that life is hard. I don't deserve happiness, that we can't have everything that we want. All those types of things. Those are really core beliefs. So what I want you to do now is just pause this, and I want you to go and find some core beliefs that you have. Make a list of beliefs that you have about yourself and about reality. Time, that you don't deserve things, that you find that difficult, that you can't change this, that you can't change that. Whatever it be, just go and take 20 minutes now and do it now. Otherwise, you might end up not doing it, which would be awful. Take time to do it now and create that personal list. And when you do, then come back with it and have a look at it in light of what we're talking about here. Now, they're core beliefs, the main beliefs. So welcome back here. The second one is satellite beliefs. Now, they're beliefs that come from the core beliefs. So if a core belief were changed, if a core belief is time, for instance, if you, about your beliefs about the effects of time, how do you think your beliefs would be, your experience would be affected? So if you had a belief that your skin is going to fall apart because of time, you then change your belief and recognize that time itself doesn't exist. What do you think will happen to your need for skin cream? Well, you probably won't believe you need it anymore. It'll just disappear. So have a look at your core beliefs, okay? Have a look at your core beliefs, and then write down next to them, you might create a mind map or whatever it is, of other beliefs that are connected to them. Another one that a lot of people believe and talk about is karma, because time and past lives and future lives, all that kind of stuff. As we go through, you'll discover that time itself doesn't exist, and therefore neither does cause and effect, and neither does karma. And so those types of things on a spiritual level can be extremely, extremely powerful. So go away now, put this on hold, grab yourself a cup of coffee, and go and start filling that out. I guarantee it is well worth your time, because as you even do the exercise, you'll be releasing limiting beliefs, which is absolutely cool. All right, so have a think about this. If you could identify one core belief that causes the biggest problem in your life, what would it be? What would it be, do you think? And it might be one that you actually haven't come up with. I don't know, because I can't see it. Because actually the one core belief that causes the most difficulty is that life happens to you and it's out of your control. Okay? That's the number one belief, because if that wasn't the case, if you knew yourself as a conscious creator, if you knew yourself as somebody who could change your beliefs and therefore your experience, then life would be, well, how different would your life be? It would be totally different, wouldn't it? So that's one of the first ones that you need to change. You need to accept that life is created by you and within your control as a conscious creator with other people, okay? As part of a greater reality. So that's absolutely fundamental to everything that we're doing here. So let's just pause for a second, take a deep breath, because we're in deep. We're in deep here. So, and there's going to be some work you do. We're not aware usually of what we think and why we think and that type of thing. So there's going to be a little bit of work for you to do within that, without a doubt. So let's just finish off this section, and then you can go away, do the work before you come back to the next lesson. So here's a question for you. Of course there is. How do you think you're able to identify your beliefs? Okay, because this is really, really important. How do you think you're able to identify them? Because I want to offer you two ways. The first one is writing them down. Okay, you allow your mind to free associate around the subject. Just write down whatever comes to mind, and you will begin to identify beliefs, that you may not even know that you had. So that's the first way. And that might take a little bit of practice. The second way is to follow your feelings. Okay, identify how you feel about a subject. Sit quietly, follow your feelings, and allow your emotions to kind of lead you to your beliefs. And that is how I prefer to do it. It's actually a combination of both often, but actually I'm much more a feeling type of person. So actually the feelings is the way to do it. So the first one is to write them down and free associate. Okay, you might want to do a mind map, whatever it is. And the second one is to follow your feelings. How do you feel about a subject? Sit quietly, follow your feelings, and just follow it through. And you will get to what you think eventually. So can you think of a circumstance that happened to you, that you don't think could have created it for yourself? If you can, go back and explore it. Because I guarantee you created it. So let's finish off and talk quickly about placebos. So given everything we now know about the nature of reality, how do you think placebos work? How do you think they work? Well, they work through the power of belief, don't they? Of course they do. And I don't know if you've heard of placebo surgery, where people go in, they are told that they've had a surgery, but they didn't actually have it, and they come out and they get better. That's a real thing. And more in the, particularly online and on the internet and in the news, we're seeing that placebos are really, truly amazing. So, placebos are effectively everything, all rituals, all therapies, all tablets, doesn't matter what it is, anything that somebody does to get better, go to the doctor and take a tablet, is actually placebo, because it's based on their thought, because they're in a state of consciousness. Every single thing is placebo. Now, I'm not going to tell you right now if you've got an illness to stop taking your tablets or all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying to you is that in a self-created state of consciousness, created through thought, your thoughts about your body and those tablets and that illness and that problem is the overriding thing. And that the way to understand it, to get over it and to move on, is to go inside, to write down what you think, to see how you feel. And you'll get there and you will release it, because it's simply a conflict somewhere within you. So the final review on this meaty subject here. So, given that we've explored the power of belief and that it's the only way to create the life that you want, then it's important to, for me to remind you that you also have positive beliefs. Okay, you do have, because what people tend to do is focus on the negative stuff, but you've got positive beliefs that are creating really amazing positive aspects of your life. So don't focus on the negative ones. We're going to talk about the magical approach later in the training, about how actually ignoring something is a great way to deal with it. It really is, because it removes the energy from it. You focus on the things that you want. But you have tons of very, very positive beliefs. So what you need to do is you need to go away and explore your belief system, go and write things down, and that is just an ongoing thing. If you want to create something, you need to maybe insert beliefs in, decide to believe something. If you want to change something, you need to go and discover what you believe about it and begin to change that. And it's simply a matter of changing your mind, okay, of choosing to believe something else. And, there are lots of exercises that we're going to go through in order to help you do that in a similar fashion. All right. So that's it for today's lesson. For this lesson here, what we're going to do next, we are going to get into another very deep subject, which a little bit radical. It's called the power of the present moment, changing the past, changing the present, and changing the future. And that's where we get into the nature of time, and that's really, you're going to absolutely love that. So that's the end of the second lesson. Speak to you soon. Have a great day. Go and explore, and you might want to review this a couple of times as well. Take care.